Ethan, did you forget the laundry again? Mom's voice cut through the kitchen like a whip. I folded it yesterday. Mom, I put it on your chair, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. On my chair? Really? Do you think I have eyes in the back of my head? Her hands slammed on the counter. You're useless. I'm not useless. I've been working after school and working. You think that excuses your laziness around this house? Her face twisted. You don't appreciate anything I do for you. I do appreciate it. I snapped, my chest tightening. I've been really trying, so stop saying I'm ungrateful. You're ungrateful, Ethan. She screamed, her voice cracking. I give you everything, and this is how you repay me. Get out. I froze. Her words hit me like a punch to the stomach. I couldn't breathe for a moment. My heart pounded, and the world narrowed to the sound of her yelling. Mom, wait please. I didn't mean I started, but she waved me off. No, you never mean anything. You never do anything right. Just go. I felt tears sting my eyes, but I refused to cry in front of her. I grabbed my backpack from the chair in the corner, shoving in my laptop, a notebook, and the few essentials I could carry. My hand shook. Ethan, where do you think you're going? Dad's muffled voice came from the living room. I'm leaving, I said, my voice barely audible. You can't just walk out. You're my son. I'm tired, Dad. I can't stay here anymore, I said, my throat tight. You don't know what you're doing, Mom shouted. You'll regret this. Ungrateful boy. I already regret staying so long, I muttered under my breath, but loud enough for her to hear. She gasped, but I didn't look back. Outside, the night air hit me like ice. The streetlights flickered, casting long shadows on the pavement. I walked fast, my backpack digging into my shoulder, my mind racing. I kept hearing her voice repeating over and over, You're ungrateful. Get out. I wandered down the block, trying to calm my racing thoughts. Why do I feel like I've been waiting for this moment my whole life? I whispered to myself. Why does it hurt so much? And yet, feel like freedom? A car passed, blinding headlights reflecting on wet asphalt. I hugged my backpack tighter and kept walking. The world felt bigger outside than it ever did inside that house. Bigger, scarier, but somehow mine. I remembered the small victories I'd had at school, the assignments I stayed up all night to finish, the part-time job I'd taken to save for college. None of it mattered here. None of it ever mattered. Mom, Dad, maybe one day you'll see, I muttered under my breath, anger mixing with pain. But I can't wait around anymore. Not for approval that will never come. I passed the corner store and paused. The neon sign buzzed quietly. I could have stopped, asked for help, or gone back, but I didn't. My hands were shaking. My steps were steady. What am I supposed to do now? I whispered to the empty street. Where do I even go? For the first time, I realized something terrifying and thrilling at the same time. I was alone. Not just physically, but in every sense that mattered. No one would save me. No one would guide me. I had to figure this out myself. I rounded the corner, my chest heavy with the weight of leaving, and suddenly, a strange calm settled over me. I can do this, I said softly, almost to convince myself. I have to. I glanced back once, toward the warm glow of my home, and didn't see it as comfort. I saw it as a cage. The lock had changed. The air had changed. And now, so had I. I kept walking into the night. Backpack tight against my shoulders, every step a mix of fear, defiance, and the tiniest spark of hope. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know if I'll ever return, but I do know I can't stay. And with that, I disappeared into the dark, leaving the yelling, the anger, and the weight of ungratefulness behind me. The streets were quiet, except for the occasional car humming past. I hugged my backpack tighter, wishing it could hold more than just my few belongings. My stomach grumbled, and my lungs ached from the cold night air. Hey, you lost too? A voice asked from the shadows. I jumped, staring at a boy sitting on a curb, hunched over a cardboard box. He had dirt on his hands and knees, and his hoodie smelled like smoke. Yeah, I said cautiously. Well, I don't really know. Name's Lucas, he said, holding out a hand. You new to the streets, or I guess you could say that, Ethan? Ethan Collins, I replied, shaking his hand. Lucas chuckled. Collins. Fancy, you don't look like a street kid. I'm not, I said quietly. I left home. Left. Like, ran away? His eyebrows rose. Yeah, I admitted. Mom, she said I was ungrateful. Told me to get out. Lucas nodded slowly. I get it. I've been through that. Parents aren't always... You know parents, I swallowed. Really? Yeah, my folks. Gone. Not like. Divorced. Gone. Left me when I was 12. Been fending for myself ever since, he said, shrugging. You'll survive, but it's rough at first. I looked at him, surprised at how calm he sounded. You really? Handle it all alone? He laughed bitterly. Handle? Not really, just keep moving. Eat when I can. Sleep where it's quiet. People like me. We don't get choices. I know that feeling, I muttered, staring at my backpack like it could answer me. Feels like no one really sees you, you know? Lucas nodded. Exactly. You're invisible until someone needs something. Then suddenly, your problem or burden. But it's not all bad. Nights like this, you meet people who understand. I felt a flicker of relief. Like you? Yeah, like me. He paused, then grinned faintly. Want to share a spot for the night? Garage down the street. No one bothers us there. Sure, I said, unsure if I should trust him, but something in his voice felt genuine. We walked in silence for a few blocks. The streetlights flickered overhead. My mind kept replaying Mom's screams, Dad's weak voice, Amanda's smug looks. Lucas didn't pry, didn't judge, just walked beside me. Do you miss home? I asked eventually. Lucas shrugged. Sometimes, but missing it doesn't change it. You get used to surviving. You find little wins like today, finding a safe place to sleep. That's victory. I nodded slowly. Yeah, I guess. Leaving isn't weakness. It's first step. Exactly, he said. Step 1, survive. Step 2, figure out what you want. Step 3, well, step 3 is up to you. We reached a dilapidated garage, the paint peeling, a loose lock hanging from the door. He pushed it open. Home sweet home, Lucas said dryly. I laughed softly. Feels better than my old home, strangely. He shrugged. Freedom smells weird, huh? Cold, damp, but yours. You don't answer to anyone here. That's worth something. I set my backpack down and took a seat on the concrete floor. Thanks, Lucas, for not asking too many questions. For talking. Anytime, man. Nights are long. Talking helps. He kicked a small stone across the floor. Sleep when you can. Watch your back. And remember, staying down isn't an option. You'll figure it out. I nodded again, feeling exhaustion and strange hope mingling. I will. I have to. Lucas leaned against the wall, eyes half closed. I stared at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the city outside. The night was cold, unforgiving, but I felt alive. For the first time, leaving home didn't feel like the end. It felt like the beginning. I can do this, I whispered. I have to. And in the quiet, damp garage, I believed it. The nights were getting colder, and so was I. My stomach was empty more often than I liked, and my backpack felt heavier each day. Not from things, but from uncertainty. Hey, Ethan, you okay? Lucas asked one morning as I shuffled past him, shivering. I'm fine, I muttered, forcing a smile. Just tired. Man, you look like a ghost. You sure you're fine? I said I'm fine. I didn't want to talk about it. Not about hunger, not about fear. It's not about how small and insignificant I felt out here. Later, as I settled in a quiet corner of the park, a crumpled envelope caught my eye on the bench. My name was scrawled in messy handwriting. Ethan Collins. What the... I muttered, flipping it over. Inside, a letter. My hands shook as I opened it. Dear Ethan, it began. I recognized Amanda's familiar looping letters. My sister, I know things have been rough. Mom's, hard on you, I get it. But I need to tell you something. She's right about some things. And you. You can't expect everyone to bend to your feelings. Also, I had to tell some friends about what's been going on. They deserve to know the truth. My stomach sank. I read the last lines again. Some friends. That meant everyone, our classmates, my peers, the people I trusted. I dropped the letter. My hands felt numb. She told them. I whispered. She told them everything. Lucas, sitting nearby, noticed the crumpled paper. What is it, My sister, I said, voice tight. She shared. Private stuff. With people at school. With everyone. Whoa. Seriously? Lucas leaned in, eyes wide. That's messed up, man. That's betrayal. It's more than messed up, I muttered. It's personal. It's family. It's everything I thought I could trust gone. Lucas shrugged. Family's weird. Sometimes they hurt you the worst, huh? I sank onto the bench. Letter still in my hand. It's like I left home to escape pain, to get away from Mom's yelling. And now, my own sister. She stabbed me in the back, quietly but deep. It hurts more than being on the streets. More than being cold or hungry? You gonna let it break you? Lucas asked softly. No, I said, shaking my head. I can't. I refuse. She can't define me. Mom can't. Amanda can't. No one can. I folded the letter carefully, sliding it back into its envelope. I'm tired of being a victim. Tired of letting their selfishness shape me. I have to. Plan, think, move. Sounds like a big step, Lucas said. Big step for a street kid who's been knocked around. I'm not a street kid, I said sharply. I was forced to survive. But surviving isn't enough anymore. I need more. I need control. I need my own path. You got it, man? You'll figure it out. You're already stronger than you think, Lucas said. I leaned back, staring at the sky turning dark above the park. The stars were faint, but they were there. Strength. Yeah, that's what I need. Strength to stand alone. Strength to face Amanda's lies. Strength to be me without asking for permission. Lucas nodded. Quiet now, letting me speak to the night. I'm done waiting for Mom to see me. Done hoping Amanda won't betray me. I can't control them. I can't make them care. But I can control. I can control what I do next. He smirked faintly. Finally, some fire in you. Took long enough. Don't mock me, I said with a half smile. I mean it. I won't let any of this define me. You sound like someone who's ready to punch life back, Lucas said. I like it. I crumpled the letter lightly in my hand, feeling a mix of hurt and resolve. I have to. I can't let betrayal break me. Not anymore, he nodded. Good. Now, we find a spot for tonight. You look like you need warmth more than speeches. I laughed softly, for the first time in days, a quiet, shaky laugh. Yeah, warmth. That's step one. Then, the plan. Step one, survive. Step two, whatever comes next, Lucas said. You got this, Ethan? I felt it, then the cold night wasn't just fear anymore. It was clarity. Pain would come, betrayal would sting, but I would rise above. I slid the envelope into my jacket, zipped it tight, and stood. Let's find that garage, I said. I'm ready to keep moving. Lucas grinned. That's the spirit. Night's long, but we'll make it. And as we walked into the dark streets, I realized leaving home hadn't been enough, but this facing betrayal head on, refusing to let it break, this was the real start. The cafe smelled of coffee and baked bread when I first walked in. My backpack hung from one shoulder, scuffed and heavy, and I looked around nervously. "Can I help you?" a voice asked. I turned to see a woman with sharp eyes and a tight ponytail. Yeah. I can work," I said quickly. "In exchange? I mean, I can help, and you don't have to pay me at first." "I just need food?" She studied me for a long moment, arms crossed. "You've never worked here before." "No, ma'am," I said, swallowing hard. "But I can take orders, clean, anything." Sophia Reynolds, her name badge red, it leaned forward slightly. "Why are you so desperate, kid?" "I don't have anywhere else to go," I admitted, my voice shaking. "I left home. I need a place to survive." Her eyes softened, but only a little. "Survive, huh? You got spirit? But survival isn't enough. You'll get eaten alive if that's all you aim for." I blinked. Eaten alive? Metaphor. You need skill. You need brains. You need people to respect you. "I can learn," I said quickly. "I'll do whatever it takes." She studied me for another beat, then nodded. "Fine. Start with the front counter. Take orders, keep it clean, and don't spill the coffee." "Got it, yes, ma'am." My first few orders were chaotic. Cups clinked, lids popped off, and a man barked at me for taking too long. "You knew?" he muttered. "Yeah," I said, forcing a smile. "I'm learning." Sophia appeared behind me. "Don't let anyone make you doubt yourself. Mistakes happen. Learn, don't freeze." I nodded, heart hammering. "Okay, I'll do better." "Good," she said. "See that spark in your eyes? That's what I want to see. Not fear. Not shame, spark." Over the next few days, I worked every shift I could. Sophia pushed me hard, but in a way that made me feel capable instead of small. "Ethan," she said one evening, leaning on the counter while I wiped tables, "why do you let your past define you?" "What do you mean?" I asked, dabbing at a stubborn coffee stain. "I mean, you walk in here like everyone owes you or like you're expecting the world to hurt you. You're scared of being unworthy. I see it in the way you move, the way you talk, even the way you breathe." I froze. I don't know how not to be scared. Everyone at home, Mom, Amanda, they made me feel small, worthless. Sophia nodded. "I get it. But fear isn't reality. You can choose to believe you're worthy. Every day, start believing it. One choice at a time. Easy for you to say," I muttered. You didn't grow up like me." "No, I didn't," she admitted. "But I learned. And you can learn too." She paused. "You're smart, Ethan. You can do more than survive. You can thrive. School, college, a career. You can be independent. You just have to stop letting your past be your cage." I never thought about that," I said, voice barely above a whisper. "I thought surviving was all I could do. That I wasn't capable of more." "You are," she said firmly. "I see it. You're capable. You just need to act." That day, I walked home well. Back to the garage thinking about what she'd said. Thrive, not just survive. College, career, independence. Could I really do that? The next morning, Sophia handed me a notepad. "I want you to take orders today on your own. No interruptions from me unless it's critical. Show me you can handle it." I nodded, stomach tight. I'll try." "You better," she said, smirking. "But I know you will." By the end of the day, I had memorized menus, taken orders without error, and even earned a quiet compliment from a regular. "You're good," he said. "Keep it up." Sophia clapped me on the shoulder. "See, Spark? That's all it takes. One choice, one action, one success at a time. That's how you build a life." "I think I understand now," I said, a little breathless. "The real battle isn't Mom, it isn't Amanda, it's me. My fear, my doubt. That's what's been holding me back. And now? She asked. Now, I fight that. I take control. I learn. I survive, but I live. She smiled. Finally, that's what I wanted to see all along. Walking back to the garage that night, my chest felt lighter than it had in weeks. I still had nothing, but for the first time, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Hope. The cafe hadn't just given me food or a job. It gave me direction, a glimpse of respect, and someone who believed. I could be more than the boy my family had tried to make me. I zipped up my jacket and tightened my backpack. The streets were cold, but I felt warmer inside. Spark. That's what Sophia called it. And for the first time in years, I felt it in me. I was hunched over my laptop in the garage, coffee cooling beside me when Lucas peeked in. Still at it, huh? Yeah, I muttered, typing fast. I've got deadlines. Clients don't wait. You're really doing this, he said, eyes wide. Freelancing and all. That's impressive. I shrugged. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about proving something. To myself. Lucas grinned. Sounds like revenge, man. Making them regret leaving you behind? I froze, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Not exactly revenge, I said slowly. More like showing them I don't need them to succeed. Same thing, he said with a smirk. A few days later, I walked past the school during lunch break. My heart stopped. Amanda. Standing by the lockers, laughing, showing off her success to anyone who'd listen. Her hair perfect, her smile fake but practiced. Unbelievable, I muttered under my breath. That's the face of betrayal. I clenched my fists. I won't confront her, I whispered to myself. That's petty. No satisfaction in that. Instead, I walked faster, pulling out my phone. Checking the notification from my latest freelance client, payment received. My first big project. Yes, I whispered, punching the air quietly. A grin spread across my face. One victory, quiet but mine. Lucas poked his head through the garage door. Celebrate later, huh? You look like you just won a war. I did win a war, I said, laughing softly. It's not about her. It's about me. Every little success is proof I'm more than their cruelty. Weeks passed. Each day I built my business a little more. A client complimented my work. Sophia praised my efficiency at the cafe. A friend I made online checked in on me, asking how I was doing. Every acknowledgement was fuel, a tiny spark of silent revenge. You're really changing, Ethan, Lucas said one evening. Different. Harder to break. I'm learning, I said, adjusting my laptop. Learning that revenge isn't always loud. It doesn't need yelling or screaming. It's quiet, methodical. Success without their validation. Lucas shook his head. That's smart. Way smarter than yelling at Amanda or storming home. I laughed softly. Anger fades. Control lasts. That's what I want. One afternoon, I got a message from a classmate. Hey, Ethan. Love your work. Can you help with a project? I smiled. I said to myself, someone believes in me. Not Mom. Not Amanda. Not anyone who hurt me. Me. And that's enough. Lucas leaned back, folding his arms. You really found your footing, huh? From being homeless to respected. Not just respected, I said. Independent, capable. I'm reclaiming power one step at a time. I thought about Amanda again. Flaunting her fake victories, friends nodding like she was flawless. They think success is loud, flashy, but real success, real power, is silent? Lucas raised an eyebrow. Silent revenge. Exactly, I said, smiling. Every payment I get, every client who praises me, every compliment, that's revenge. I don't need to yell. I don't need to confront. I just live. And that hurts them more than anything I could say. It sounds like you've become unstoppable, Lucas said quietly. I shook my head, smiling to myself. Not unstoppable. Just aware, focused, every move intentional, every success deliberate. Every day I proved to myself I'm not defined by their cruelty that night. I sat in the garage reviewing my client projects, planning my next steps. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, heart steady. I felt calm, focused, alive. Ethan, Lucas said softly, leaning on the doorway. You're really doing it. You're thriving. I am, I said, looking at the screen. And every tiny victory, it's mine. Mine alone. I don't owe anyone my worth. I don't need validation from them. Lucas smiled faintly. Revenge never looked so peaceful. I laughed quietly. That's the point. The old me would have stormed in, yelled, tried to make them feel small. That's easy. This takes patience, strategy, strength, and it feels better. I lean back, stretching my arms. I've started living on my terms. Amanda, Mom. They'll watch me rise without ever touching me. That's the sweetest revenge of all. Lucas chuckled. Silent, smart, unstoppable. Yeah, that's you now. I looked out the garage window, night settling over the city. My mind was quiet, but my spirit. Every choice, every small victory, every compliment, tiny seeds of revenge taking root, and I knew firmly that I'd grow into something they'd never expect. Something unshakable. I smiled to myself. This is just the beginning. Move that box a little to the left, Jason said, grinning as I struggled with a stack of books in my new apartment. Left. I groaned, adjusting my grip. Isn't this already left enough? Trust me, it'll make the whole place feel lived in, he said, stepping back. Plus, your spine will thank me. I laughed, a full laugh that felt foreign after months of struggle. Thanks, man. I didn't think I'd ever have a place like this. You earned it. Ethan, you've worked harder than anyone I know. I dropped the books carefully on the floor. Feels surreal. Paying my own bills, cooking my own food, deciding what to do with my life. It's freedom. Jason leaned against the counter, smirking. Freedom tastes better than the instant noodles you used to survive on, I guess, I said, smiling softly. I never imagined I'd get here. Months ago, I was hiding in a garage, wondering if I'd ever be more than Mom and Amanda's shadow. Mom and Amanda? Jason asked. I hesitated, then nodded. My mother. She's controlling, cruel. My sister, Amanda, betrayed me. But now they're the ones facing consequences. Their actions catch up eventually. What happened? He asked, curious. Mom, she lost friends. People started avoiding her because of her behavior. Her relationships with anyone she cared about shaky, Amanda. Her so-called friends distanced themselves after learning she lied, spread secrets about me. Karma, in small doses but satisfying. Jason whistled. That's poetic justice, man. You didn't have to do anything. Exactly, I said, leaning back on the couch. Revenge isn't always about cruelty. Sometimes success, independence. Living well without them, that's the hammer. Jason laughed. Man, you sound like you read a motivational book or something, I wish, I said with a shrug. This is just life. I realize that the world doesn't define you. People don't define you. You define yourself. Sounds like a mantra, Jason teased. You gonna put that on a poster? Maybe, I said, smiling. It's been months of work. Freelancing, the cafe, planning my future. Every tiny victory was a reminder that I don't need anyone's validation. Jason nodded. You've changed. You walk differently now. Confident. Not cocky. Just sure of yourself. I earned it, I said quietly. Every late night, every client project, every compliment from Sophia, it all added up. Slowly, methodically. That's the real power shift. Not just leaving home, but taking control of my life. Jason leaned back, stretching. So, roommate of the year, huh? You sure you're not gloating? I chuckled. I'm cautious. I've learned the hard way that trust must be earned. But, yeah, I'm proud of what I've built. He smirked. Good. I'm glad I get to witness it. Later that week, I ran into a neighbor, one of Mom's friends, actually. She gasped when she saw me, a mix of surprise and judgment in her eyes. Ethan Collins? She said, her voice sharp. You live here now? Yes, I said, smiling politely. I do. Things change, your mother. She never mentioned. I shook my head, cutting her off. Mom's choices are hers. Mine are mine. I don't answer to her or anyone else anymore. Her eyes flicked away and she shuffled past me. I felt a strange satisfaction, not from cruelty, but from knowing that my life was mine to live, untouched by her judgment. Jason appeared beside me, grinning. Poetic moment. Exactly, I said softly. Silent yet powerful. That night, I sat in my apartment, looking out the window at the city lights. My hands rested on my laptop, where new freelance projects awaited. Can you believe this? I whispered to myself. A few months ago, I was sleeping in a garage. Now, I'm here. Independent, capable, thriving. Jason walked by, tossing me a bag of chips. Celebrate the small wins. They add up faster than you think. I will, I said, popping one into my mouth. Every client, every compliment, every little victory, it's all a reminder that I'm not defined by Mom or Amanda. Their cruelty doesn't reach me here. My life is mine. Jason nodded. You're unstoppable when you realize that. Careful, though. Don't let it go to your head. I laughed softly. Trust me, I've learned humility the hard way. Confidence, yes. Ego, no. That's part of the power shift, knowing I can thrive without them, but staying grounded. He smiled. Well, roommate, looks like we're set. You've got a roof, a job, and a plan. What's next? I leaned back, watching the city hum below. Next is growth. Learning, building, and keeping control of my life. Protecting it. I won't let past pain dictate me. Every choice I make now is deliberate, intentional. Jason clapped me on the shoulder. Sounds like a plan? You've come a long way, Ethan. I smiled, feeling a warmth that wasn't just from the apartment heater. Freedom, independence, the quiet justice of success. It was intoxicating. But most of all, I felt in control. Months ago, I ran from pain, I whispered. Now, I'm running toward life. And nothing can stop me. Jason laughed. Look at you, philosopher of the streets. I grinned. Maybe, but this philosopher just took the first real step toward everything I deserve. And I'll keep stepping. I hesitated at the entrance of the school auditorium, backpack slung over one shoulder. A reunion wasn't supposed to feel threatening, but seeing all those familiar faces made my stomach twist. Ethan. Is that you? A voice called. I turned to see Lucas, grinning. You made it, huh? Looking sharp. Yeah. Trying to, I muttered. Nervous doesn't even begin to cover it. He smirked. Relax. This is your stage 2, not theirs. Inside, the crowd buzzed with chatter. I spotted Amanda immediately, her hair perfect, her laugh rehearsed, her circle of friends nodding at every word she said. My chest tightened, but I forced myself to stay calm. Here she is, I whispered under my breath. The great betrayer herself. Lucas elbowed me lightly. Don't let her get to you. You've already won. Remember that. I nodded, gripping my backpack. Yeah, I know. But seeing her, it still stings a little. A teacher stepped up to the microphone, calling for attention. We have some announcements tonight. And some truths too clear. Amanda's eyes flicked toward the stage, a confident smile playing on her lips. Everything's fine. Just another night of gossip, she whispered to her friend. I leaned against the wall, silent, waiting. My heart thumped as the teacher continued. Some of you may have heard misinformation about one of our alumni. It's time to set the record straight. Amanda laughed nervously, leaning toward her friends. I don't know what actually, Amanda, another voice interrupted, clear and sharp. "You've been telling everyone Ethan lied about the scholarship project, claiming he cheated. But I have proof. Emails, documents, even witnesses." The room went quiet. Amanda froze. That's not the teacher held up a folder. "Everything here confirms Ethan's work was legitimate." "Your accusations were false?" I didn't move. I didn't smile. I just watched. Silence stretched. Amanda's friends shifted uncomfortably, their admiration evaporating. "Ethan," Lucas whispered. "Feeling good?" "Strangely calm," I said softly. "It's not about joy in her pain. It's closure. The lesson isn't for her, it's for me." Amanda's face turned red. You're lying," she hissed. "Funny," a former classmate said from the crowd. "Truth has a way of surfacing, doesn't it?" Mom appeared beside Amanda, panicked. "Amanda, honey, calm down. Let's handle this quietly." Quietly. Amanda snapped, eyes darting between the documents and the audience. He's lying." Mom's voice quivered. "Ethan, please, we can talk." I stepped forward slightly, hands in my pockets. "No, Mom, there's nothing to talk about." "The truth is clear," the room murmured. Amanda's friends whispered, some shaking their heads, some avoiding her gaze. Her confidence crumbled in real time. I felt no triumph in her embarrassment. None at all. Just a strange sense of calm. Karma unfolding naturally. The satisfaction wasn't in watching her suffer, it was in knowing I no longer needed her approval. Or Mom's to feel worthy. Lucas nudged me. "See that? That's power without anger. Satisfaction without malice." I nodded. "Exactly. I've waited years to not let their judgment control me, and now I'm free." Amanda tried to salvage her dignity, but every word felt hollow. Her circle had shifted. Former friends looked at her skeptically, some even backing away. Mom's face was red with embarrassment, hands clutching at her purse. I felt a lightness in my chest. This is closure, not revenge, just life correcting itself. A teacher moved toward me. "Ethan, would you like to say something?" I shook my head, smiling faintly. "No. Truth speaks louder than words." The room remained quiet for a moment. Then chatter slowly returned, this time without judgment or gossip directed at me. Amanda slunk to a corner, Mom trailing, murmuring apologies I didn't need to hear. Lucas leaned close. "You all right?" "I am," I said, voice steady. "I've realized something tonight. Betrayal. It teaches. Pain. It shapes. But the real change happens inside. Not from humiliating them, but from forgiving myself and refusing their control." He nodded. "You've grown, man. You're untouchable now in a way they'll never understand." I smiled softly. Untouchable. By their opinions? By their lies? That's the real power shift. Amanda looked up briefly, eyes searching mine, probably hoping for anger or retaliation. I gave her nothing, just a calm, steady gaze. And in that moment, I understood fully. Power, worth, respect. They weren't handed to me. I earned them. Silently, patiently, without malice. The world had finally recognized the truth, and I didn't need to yell, fight, or strike back. The reunion continued around us, laughter and chatter filling the room. I stood in the middle of it, grounded, free, and finally at peace. No external validation required. No anger lingering. Only calm, clarity, and the quiet satisfaction that some lessons, painful as they are, become gifts in disguise. The envelope felt heavier than it was. I held it in my hands, sitting on the edge of my bed in my small apartment, staring at the letters stacked beside meal letters from Mom. Amanda, reminders of a life that had tried to break me. Ethan, are you going to open that, or just stare at it all day? Jason asked from the kitchen, munching on a granola bar. I smirked. Patience, roommate, this could be life-changing. Life-changing, huh? You've already done a lot of changing yourself, he said, leaning against the doorway. I nodded slowly. Yeah, but this could be different. A scholarship. A real chance to leave the past behind and step into something bigger. All right then, Jason said, grinning. Open it. I tore the envelope carefully. My heart thumped, a mix of nerves and anticipation. The letter inside was official, elegant. I read the words aloud, almost in disbelief. Congratulations, Ethan Collins. You have been awarded the full scholarship too. University name. I laughed, a short, sharp sound that caught in my throat. I did it. I really did it. Jason clapped me on the back. Told you. All that work, all that struggle, it was worth it. You earned this. I sank back against the bed, letting the excitement and relief wash over me. Then, almost without thinking, I reached for the stack of letters from Mom and Amanda. I picked up one of Mom's, her handwriting familiar, jagged. You still read these? Jason asked quietly. I have to, I said softly. To close this chapter completely, to see how far I've come, I unfolded the letter. You're ungrateful, Ethan. You don't understand how much we've done for you. You'll regret leaving. One day, you'll come crawling back. I chuckled, shaking my head. Crawling back? Yeah, that'll never happen. Jason nodded. See, you're stronger than that. Look at you now, independent, thriving, and about to go to university. I picked up Amanda's letter next. I told everyone your secrets, Ethan. You deserved to fail. You'll see, I folded it slowly, feeling the weight of old pain. She tried. She really did. But none of it matters anymore. I'm not defined by her lies or Mom's control. Jason leaned closer. You sure about that? Absolutely, I said. Everything I went through, the betrayal, the pain, the nights alone, it shaped me, yes. But it didn't chain me. It made me resilient. Every scar is a reminder I survived. Not broken, just stronger, he smiled. Sounds like you've finally embraced it all? I have, I whispered, staring at the walls of my apartment. I left home thinking I was running from them, from pain. But really, I was running toward myself, toward freedom, toward the man I could become. Jason nodded quietly, understanding. And you did it. Look at you. Self-aware, capable, and yeah, even ready to love without needing approval. I laughed softly. Love without needing approval. That sounds impossible when you've been controlled, betrayed, and judged all your life. But it's real now. I can feel it. I glanced at the letters again. Mom's words, Amanda's lies. They don't hurt me anymore. They're reminders, not chains. I survived without their validation, and I thrived because of my choices, not theirs. Jason grinned. And now you've got the scholarship. That's your ticket too. Everything you've been working toward? Yeah, I said, a lump in my throat. College, career, independence. A chance to grow even more. And the best part? I know I earned it. No shortcuts, no validation from anyone who tried to break me. I set the letters down gently, taking a deep breath. I think I finally understand what it means to leave the past behind. To embrace the future fully. To accept myself, the good, the bad, the scars, everything. Jason raised an eyebrow. Sounds like someone's ready for the world. I am, I said, a smile spreading across my face. And I won't let fear or doubt hold me back anymore. I've been small before. Scared, uncertain, but I've grown. I've fought. I've survived, and now I can thrive. The apartment felt warmer somehow, filled with light from the evening sun streaming through the window. I leaned back, letting my shoulders relax for the first time in years. I feel free, I whispered. Not free from pain, I'll always remember it, but free from its hold over me. Free to choose my path, my friends, my love, my life. Free to be the man I want to be. Jason chuckled softly. That's a lot of freedom for one night. I laughed, genuine and full this time. Maybe, but it's the best freedom I've ever known. Leaving home was the hardest decision I ever made, and yet, it was the most liberating. I stood and looked out the window at the city, lights twinkling like stars. I left because I had to survive, but I stayed because I wanted to live. And living, really living, is about embracing who I've become. Strong, self-aware, capable, unshaken by the past. Ready for the future. Jason nodded, smiling. You're ready, Ethan? You really are. I folded the scholarship letter carefully, placing it on the desk next to my bed. Ready? I repeated softly, and I will never stop being ready. This is just the beginning. For the first time in my life, I'm proud of myself. Truly proud. I stood at the edge of the driveway, backpack slung over my shoulder. The house looked different. The lock on the front door was new, the garden untended. Time had moved on, and so had I. Ready for this? Jason asked, leaning casually on the car. I nodded, swallowing hard. I think so. Not to go back, not to reconcile. Just to acknowledge. To close the chapter, he gave me a small nod. Then let's do it. I approached the door, feeling the old tension rise, but also a calm I hadn't felt in years. My fingers traced the edges of the envelope in my hand. Inside was a letter I'd written, not angry, not pleading. Just words for myself. You really wrote them a letter? Jason asked quietly. I smiled faintly. Not for them. For me. To release the burden I carried for so long, I knocked lightly. No answer. I waited, the cool wind brushing past me. A door creaked open, and Mom appeared, her eyes wide. Ethan? She said, voice uncertain. I didn't expect. Hi, Mom, I said calmly. I'm not here for arguments or apologies. I'm here to leave something, she frowned. Leave something? I held out the envelope. A letter. Read it if you want. Or don't. It's not for you. It's for me. Amanda appeared behind her, arms crossed, eyes narrowing. Seriously, Ethan? You're back? Yes, I said, meeting her gaze steadily. But I'm not the same boy who left. I'm not coming back to fight or beg. I'm leaving something behind. Mom's voice wavered. You don't need to. I do, I interrupted gently. Closure isn't for you. It's for me. I needed to acknowledge the past, to forgive not you, but myself. For carrying anger, guilt, and shame that weren't mine to carry, Amanda scoffed. Forgive yourself. After everything I told everyone, I shook my head. Forgiveness isn't about erasing what happened. It's about freeing myself. I don't need your apology. I don't need your validation. I only needed to let go. Jason leaned against the car, watching silently. I could feel the tension in the air, but I wasn't afraid anymore. I felt light. Unburdened, Mom's voice softened, trembling. Ethan. I held up a hand. No explanations. No justifications. We're past that. I left home once to survive. I stayed away to live. And I've done both. Amanda's eyes flickered with something, maybe regret, maybe disbelief. I didn't let it reach me. I didn't need it. I've grown, I said, taking a deep breath. I've worked, struggled, and learned to stand on my own. I'm not defined by anger, betrayal, or their judgments. I define myself. That's freedom. That's self-worth. That's me. Mom blinked, unsure, while Amanda's jaw tightened. Neither spoke, and that was fine. Silence was enough. I handed the envelope toward the door again. I'm leaving this here. Not for you to read, not for you to understand, just here. My words, my peace. Jason nudged me gently. Time to go? I nodded. Yeah, time to walk forward. I turned, feeling the cool wind brush against my face. For the first time in years, the weight of anger and resentment lifted. My steps felt lighter, unburdened. Each one echoed the truth I'd come to. I am no longer Ethan Collins. The ungrateful son. I am Ethan Collins, the man who survived, the man who thrived, the man who finally belongs to himself. Amanda muttered something behind me, but I didn't hear it. Mom called my name once, voice trembling, but I didn't turn. I didn't need to. Jason fell into step beside me. You okay? He asked. I've never been better, I said, smiling faintly. Closure isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet. It's knowing I'm free. Free from the past, free from their judgment, free from the chains I carried for so long. He nodded, understanding. Ready to live your life, huh? I am, I said, eyes forward, feeling the city stretch before me. And I will. On my terms, no one else's rules, no one else's expectations. Just mine. That's freedom. That's worth. That's life. We walked away from the house, leaving it behind physically and emotionally. The old letters, the memories, the pain, they stayed there in the past. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Hey, Ethan, Jason said quietly. This is it. The real beginning. I smiled, feeling the truth in his words. Yeah, the beginning. Of everything I choose, everything I want, everything I deserve. And with that, I stepped forward fully, ready to live, ready to love, ready to thrive, ready to be the man I had fought so hard to become. No chains, no burden. Just freedom, self-worth, and the quiet knowledge that I had finally completely found myself.